Good afternoon. Wednesday practice, 2-minute drill. Real good, real physical. Came out ready to work and to practice, and just got to keep our foot on the gas, keep getting better, keep emphasizing the details to make us better. We have lots of improvement to make. Feel like we have made some this week and still have a lot more to, again, to take that next step as a team, and we're looking forward to seeing our fans on Saturday. Looking forward to that place being loud, rocking, having a bunch of our people there, packing it up. So, questions, please.
Is there a decision on QB2 and the backup quarterback?
Yeah, we have it in-house. We'll release that come closer to game time.
Will Robbie or Jalen change numbers this week?
We'll release that closer to game time.
Ryan Locke referred to the offensive line as kind of a ragtag group, JUCOs, former walk-ons. That was his words. How would you describe this group, and especially the performance they just had?
Oh, just real deal competitors. Everything's really important to them. Being good teammates are important to them. Being early to do everything, max effort, doing it the right way, treating people right. This team, our culture, the organization, the right kind of guys, and they're tough. They fight through the things that typically knock guys out of practice or games. They fight through. So happy with not happy, that's a bad word. Enthused by their continued progress and the fact that they have no desire to be praised. They just want to keep getting better and better. And Coach Mario, he's the best in the business, doing a great job with those guys.
There's a lot of attention on this team, the highest ranking in a while. How has this team been able to kind of flush last week and get better and focus on what they have at hand this week?
I think we have a pretty good way of doing that, bring them back to earth if they're feeling that way. We know it is what it is. There's going to be a lot of noise and attention and talk surrounding something like when it happens last week. You don't shy away from it and you don't ignore it, but you make sure that the main thing continues to be that. The whole 1-0 mantra has been our thing from the beginning. So that thing has to be put away 24 hours after. I think by the way you practice really determines what you allow or what you're really infusing your locker room with. And the way we practice has not changed from the way it was the previous week. And if we feel there's a drop in intensity from opponent to opponent, it's addressed, and it's confronted and demanded in a very real way, right between the eyes. And that's important for them. It's important for our team as human beings, development-wise, and as football players.
You mentioned the importance of yesterday and today's practice a lot of times. Players are doing it too. Do you feel confident of how this team has practiced the last few days?
I feel like we've practiced pretty well. I feel like the guys are on the leadership council. They're really determined to maintain a certain level, a certain standard that they're not willing to compromise. They understand that compromising any aspect of that standard is the equivalent of compromising 1-0. So they've done a good job, and everyone is just pushing in the same direction and pushing hard, understanding the reality to become a great football team. You have to be a relentless competitor every single day in practice and everything that you do. So I think the approach has been real, and so far so good this week.
On that, Mario, for as many coaches have gone through Tuscaloosa as you have, there's all kinds of ways to motivate players. None of them, and yourself included, have not necessarily employed the certain tactics in terms of rat poison or taking things publicly. But there's different ways to do it. It's not a matter of right or wrong. There's different ways.
Right.
Why have you, with who you are, and the way you do it on the field perhaps, but not doing it publicly, whereas Nick has, over the years, done things a little bit more publicly at times?
Well, I think we know each other very well, and we're very real. Our team knows that every day when they come out to practice that nothing but their very best is expected, and that myself, the coaching staff, the leaders on the team are coming 100 miles per hour right at them. And you ain't coming with that same speed, attitude, and intensity, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it to the point where you got to bring it as well. You learn a lot at different stops. I learned a ton over there, a ton. But we implement things in the way that we feel fits our program and being ourselves. Of course, there's a lot of things you copy or you bring over and apply, you implement. But our approach to things are so direct, so blunt, so between the eyes that we feel it's effective. Let's go find out Saturday if it is.
Keith Brown's a guy that got a lot of action.
Yes, sir.
Because the linebackers are a little banged up. How did you feel he responded on Saturday and kind of what you saw from him in that game?
Impressed with him from a physicality standpoint first and foremost. The moment wasn't too big because you look right away, see if a guy lines up, right? Guy gets a signal and it's noisy and he lines up completely opposite to where he's supposed to, you know, well, okay, it's too big of a moment. Lined up well, got downhill in a hurry, threw his body around, played with good leverage, used his hands really well with strike and blockers, was involved in some really important tackles. Got nicked up there at the end, but nothing serious. All in all, I would say he did a great job. And with him continuing to get more and more reps, we think he's going to be a great football player, you know. And we're going to push him. He knows that. I mean, I'm as hard on him as there is. I chase him up and down the field all the time. And he needs that right now. He's a freshman. So we expect big things from him.
And then just staying there on the backers, you know, particularly the Mike and the Will. Looks like some guys are going to be asked to step up in these coming weeks. How do you feel about the depth there and kind of what you've seen from those guys and how they've responded?
Well, you know, the obvious thing, we took a hit, you know. So I think it's football just being football right now. Guys have developed. Guys have, from a practice and preparation standpoint, you do see an elevated urgency because some guys haven't had that many reps. And they realize that the whole thing about next man up is real. And it's not just real for practice, it's real in front of, you know, a big crowd like that, like it was last week. And that it could be real at any moment and for any position. So there's something to the way that we practice where even the 2s, 3s, and 4s get the same reps as the 1s, where the benefit, if done the right way with full mental intensity, you can have some really good results. So I think we're seeing that. We're seeing the urgency that goes with that to prepare for what's happening now, and in the case that happens at other positions also. So all in all, just progress, you know, miles to go, but progress.
Coach, segueing into that, almost every position has had a lot of players play, but except for quarterback and running backs. I know you always respect your opponent, there's no gimmies, but is this a goal this week, is to get some of the backups at the running back and quarterback some more playing time?
I think the goal should always be to play the guys that have earned the playing time. That's what it's always going to be. And like you mentioned, always making sure that you respect every opponent and understanding that if you're not at your best, you can be beat. So right now, that's our approach, has always been our approach, is making sure that we're getting the guys on the field that have earned it. It's not a privilege, you know, it's not somebody's right. It's someone's duty and obligation to earn that time throughout camp, the course of the week, etc. And we're going to go with that approach.
DJ James was one of your defensive players of the game. He's at top of the boundary corner on the depth chart now. What did he do specifically in that game with Ohio State and in practice to kind of earn that recognition?
Well, first of all, from a communication standpoint, he was really good. Man-to-man was really good. The zone concepts and passing things off, playing the run, was a willing tackler, threw his body around. Not many misses by him. He played a really good game. Been out for a little while. That's on him. He understood that, and he came with nothing but a humility about him that had him working hard and earning that opportunity, and he took full advantage of it and has put himself in a great position going into this week.
Last question.
With Jabril McDonald, what made him particularly well suited to move inside, and how has he kind of progressed in the last few weeks there?
Well, he's done it before. If you watch his high school tape, he's played all over the place. He's a really talented guy now. I think when we put him in the media guy, we listed him at 210. He's about 225 now, but he played on the edge. He played inside. Was very comfortable at both. And you know, when you watch linebackers, guys that play inside, there has to be some very natural, instinctive feel to them because they just see a lot, right? A lot of things that try to, you know, trick your eyes, try to give you some eye candy and eye wash so that you lose sight of what your assignments are, your keys are. He doesn't get fooled with that. This guy's really natural. He's really smart. He plays and practices with tremendous intensity. So it was very natural to slide him right in there. And he had a really good practice last week and practiced really well this week. So you're going to see more of him.